What's going on, everybody? Good to see you guys in here already. Thanks for the compliments from Shark and K9 on the new site stuff. It's gonna get better and better, literally by the day. So we're excited about it. Anyway, yeah, I hope everybody had a good weekend. I had obviously the little bit of a brutal run there on Friday. I really thought I was going to have a chance to win a tournament, and I would have at least come in second. Pretty sure about that, based on what Randall was doing, and cost me at least 25K. So that was a little bit of a bummer. But we're going to start this week off right. It's a pretty basic slate. There's just a few decision points to touch on. The things that are basically, I'm going to do my normal thing where I go through my stuff. Sheets is going to probably be here in 15 minutes. And once I go through my stuff, please fire in questions and thoughts along the way, because there's a lot of stuff to speculate on tonight that we're going to have to talk about. But the main plays, Brandon Williams, one of Lee or Moody. I don't mind both, but if you have to separate, that's the ones I would separate probably. Jordan Poole being next as a priority. Murray, LeBron being two priority spends up, along with Luka or Jokic. Kuminga, Josh Hart. And then I'm trying to decide whether I want to do the Keon Johnson or Josh Primo and really pay up. That's something I'm still flirting with. On FanDuel, Eubanks and Watford are better plays over there. Hart's a better play over there. Jokic is a better play, but all the other guys make sense. The Townsend Russell thing is going to be big. What happens with Russell? All of Minnesota might open up, and that game may stay closer. So we have to keep an eye out for that news. The other guys who you'd be considering if we had no Russell would be like Beverly or Noel or even McLaughlin, depending on which one of these guys are out or if multiples are. Beasley would probably even come into play. McDaniels is already in play, but I think he'd become an even better play. And obviously Towns would increase drastically. We just need the news. It's going to be hard because we probably won't have it at lock. We will have the Vucevic, who just got downgraded news. And that is a big decision point, because what else, what do we want to do with the Bulls in that case? Because then all of a sudden you've got a good game environment, a high total, and you're taking away one of the larger usages on the team. Now, DeRozan's still pretty expensive, but I wouldn't mind that. And I still don't mind the idea of taking a shot on Levine in this spot. So the question would be, what are we going to do about Tristan Thompson? Do we need that extra value? But they like him. They're playing him down the stretch in games, even when they don't need to play too big. So if Vucevic is out against Embiid, who else is going to match up with Embiid? I just don't know how it's going to, even a little bit. Not that Thompson can, but this is weird. So anyway, so those are the main guys you're deciding between and then obviously, like I was mentioning, the Bulls is going to determine things. Other guys I'm open to playing, Dinwiddie and Quickly, as a large field tournament play. I did have some early builds with Donovan Mitchell, and I don't mind it. It's hard with the back-to-back, but I worry about that, with Jokic. Jokic put up 95 fantasy points last night. That's crazy. And so I'm still trying to figure out what to do with that one. Yeah, that's a tough call here. I still like the idea of playing an unowned Jokic on DK. He's going to have ownership on FanDuel, but he won't on DK. I never liked Jimmy Buckets tonight, so I still don't. So people can play Jimmy Butler, especially with the upgrade to Lowry and Oladipo now playing. I don't really see the need to play Jimmy Butler. On FanDuel, he's fine. I would just describe him as fine. I don't think there's anything that makes him an automatic play by any means, especially with Lowry coming back, especially in this kind of a matchup where they don't need him to go nuts. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of Jimmy Butler compared to the field. I think I will on FanDuel have some of them, but I don't think I'm going to end up there on DK personally. I would rather play Bam if I had to choose between the two. But we're going to have to find out whether we're playing Whiteside, because if Gobert's in or not. So there's a lot we're just going to have to wait. It's just going to lead me back to my main point that I always make. I'm just going to make sure that Kevin Huerter's, as I said earlier, didn't change things too much here. You can play Trey or Cade Cunningham, but most of the early guys are going to be passes for me unless we have Vucevic out, because we do need to hear about the Utah news could be big. The Minnesota news could be big. And it's just one of those slates where we kind of need that news. We also, on top of it, would like to see who Portland is starting, things like that are really important. And I think you're giving up some equity if you start playing these guys in the earlier games without knowing that news. Would I play Eubanks and Waterford together on FanDuel? It's definitely not optimal, but I don't mind taking a shot with that if you wanted to. I'm strongly against those kind of plays in general. But we even have one Toscano Anderson who's even questionable tonight. Like that, if he's out too, like I mean, there's just so many other plays that I think you can argue for. And then you have Will Barton questionable, and that would, I know it sucks to play Aaron Gordon, but he's 4,900 in a great matchup. Like I don't know. So I would prefer to try to get away from playing them in the same lineup, but I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. It's definitely not optimal. It will be popular. Like in cash games, you can do it. You're just giving up some upside. The truth is, though, they do play them together a little bit, so maybe a little bit better than it normally would be, especially against a team that plays two semi-ish bigs. You know, if you count whether you count Vanderbilt or you know whatever. I don't know. He's a big enough guy to sort of match up with Watford anyway. They sort of match up all right together. So I don't know. We'll see. I do want to see a Portland starting lineup before I commit to anything. People always do this. They always come in our Discord and start asking questions of the thing. Anyway. So yeah. So sorry, I got messages coming left and right. All right. Portland and Golden State value plays along with Cat. Yeah, that's pretty much the main thing that we're going to be doing, or one of the main things. But we don't know what's happening in Minnesota, so I don't want to speak to Minnesota without knowing. And that just basically echoes my early point that there's not. I mean, I like a Cade Trey back and forth idea. I don't really like anybody else. I mean, Bogdanovich is fine. If we felt like John Collins had some upside on those minutes, I think he's a good play. But I don't think we need to play these guys just without this other news. I mean, if these guys, if Minnesota that's three guys out and Gobert's out, what do we need to mess around with the sort of borderline-ish plays in the early game, except for the two that could really break us, which I think is a good two to play, and that's Trae Young and Cade Cunningham. And anyway, that's currently what I'm planning on doing. I don't think LBJ in the same lineup with Podol Murray. I'm pretty sure I'd never said that. I specifically would go against doing that. I don't think it's bad, but I think you're getting more upside if you play them. I mean, I'm not going to play Podol in all my lineups, so why wouldn't I just play him separately? And I'll run some other ones. I'll run a Murray and Westbrook on FanDuel where Westbrook 6,900. I don't think you necessarily want to, like on FanDuel, it's very easy to play all three together and it's fine. I just think there's plenty of other ways to go that you can play, you know, one of the big pay-ups for San Antonio, probably not both together. But if there was a matchup, this would be a good one to do it. So I think it's okay. It's not what I'm doing currently. I'm sort of splitting up my two Lakers, or the three Lakers that I'm playing, counting Malik Monk as one of them, and then splitting up the two main Spurs on FanDuel. I do think I'm going to mix in some Primo. This kid's really young and it's got a wide range of outcomes, but I believe in the talent. And I think that with all these guys out, it just gives him a chance to where if he's playing well, he could stay on the court potentially quite a bit in this game. If he's not, he won't. And you can make the same argument. Well, McDermott has a little more secure minutes, but it's not a fun roster either way. If you're going to play him, probably on DK. All right, so get into other questions, other thoughts, because for me, again, it's like, you know, I'm just going to echo my general thoughts are that this is the waiting game time. Like, we want to wait, we want to see what happens, and I don't really know how to you know, do anything other than fade more of the first games, at least until we find out whether or not we have Noah Vucevic. Hey, good to see you, Sam. I feel like, Sam, is it you who always asks about Greg? I feel like Greg Brown, even before he was like relevant and playing any minutes, which he's still not relevant, but people were asking me about him a lot. And it was like going way, way back when he was playing like 8 minutes, you know, and 6 minutes in some games. I think he's probably one of the worst. He's probably the worst play on the Blazers. Is there upside in their room? Sure. Like, there's, for any of these guys, could have an outlier game. I think if I was going to spend the 3.5 at someone else, I would play Ben McLemore because he can always make 7 threes in the game. So I would not be looking to try to force Greg Brown in, unless, of course, he's starting, and we have no idea who's starting. So we're going to have to figure that one out. Christian Wood did not register. So this is probably the worst matchup in the NBA for Wood. probably the worst situation also with assuming that Schroeder comes back. So if you play Christian Wood every single night because you like Christian Wood, then you could play him tonight. There's nothing good about this situation for him at all. They played yesterday. They're going to get absolutely walloped, in my opinion. He is the worst statistical matchup in basketball. So again, it's one of those things. Is he maybe still a little too cheap just based on the last 3 games? Yes, but not in general. I don't even know how to answer the center thing because we don't know about Gobert playing, which is going to make probably the best play at center pretty obviously on DraftKings, especially. No, what am I talking about? On both sides. It's going to make, well, Towns and Jokic are cheap on FanDuel, but it's going to make pretty obviously, assuming that he does in fact start like he usually does, the best play will then be Whiteside. DiVincenzo is a guy who I thought, I was the one saying like I think he's going to start trending up in minutes. I feel it doesn't feel like a great play. Like, first of all, he's barely gotten there for this price every other night, and we've got incredible value with potentially a lot more. So I didn't find myself with any DiVincenzo lineups, but I certainly don't mind it. It's a reasonable price, but like, what value are you weighing against the others? Like, is he he's not a better play than all the guys in the 3K range that I talked about, straight up. You would want Keon Johnson to be starting, Brian, to answer that question. What's up, Brody? And yeah, that's pretty much the breakdown of what's happening. There's nothing really else to say until we find out about this injury news or starting lineup news from the Blazers, which is not for a while. So I'm just going to re-encourage everybody, outside of if you're playing Trey or Cade Cunningham, that you probably want to try to wait as much as you can. The other guy I would say is probably more okay now without Huerter on the court, because we'll get more. His minutes are going to be up there. Would be Bogdanovich. But keep in mind also, we just had the same situation with Collins out, and Collins is a higher usage player than Huerter is. So don't think of this as like being this massive shift and we need to play Atlanta all over the place now, because there is certainly no guarantees with any of these guys. They still have got 10 guys they're going to play. And they've got 15 available if they want them. So it's just Trey and Joseph early on. And I'm skipping the Bulls mostly outside of one Levine lineup on FanDuel. And I do like Harden a little bit on FanDuel. I can't get to Harden or Embiid on DK personally. I'd rather play Jokic or Luka or LeBron or Murray or Cat. So that's my reasoning for that one. All right, guys, drop in more questions. The shows get a little stale. I know it's you can only talk through something so much. I told you everybody I'm playing. Told you some interesting guys I'm considering, but really it's going to come down to who's playing for Minnesota, who's starting for Portland, and whether or not Gobert is playing are all incredibly large pieces of information. And Will Barton is an underratedly potential piece of information that's valuable. Maybe you could, like I mentioned, I know it sucks playing Aaron Gordon, but at 4,900 on FanDuel, I'm open to it. He put up 46 yesterday, by the way. And in the same game, Jokic put up 95. So we know that the ceilings are there for those guys, at least. And Barton's been terrible. Anyway. I went through everybody I'm playing already, so I'm just going to be continuing to repeat myself. But the priorities are William. The combination of, for the spend ups, Murray, Towns, LeBron, Harden, and then Jokic are my main guys. Oh, and Luka. And you can fit literally 2 or 3 of those guys in if you play the value out there, which is Williams. Josh Hart's almost a lock for me on FanDuel. He's in a ton of my lineups over there. Not a lock, but he's close to it. Eubanks and Watford. One of those guys is in all my lineups currently on FanDuel. I like Aaron Gordon a little bit. If we do, he's okay anyway. But if you want to speculate on Barton being out, really hard to know though who else to talk about until we know who's playing, because there's a lot of Q tags out there tonight. So, all right. Any thoughts? Any questions? What are you guys doing? Anybody you guys like off the board? Anybody who maybe I failed to touch on that you had a question about? But I think, I have a core pool of about 13 different players. I know that's a bigger pool than just like a 4-man thing, but like those are the 13 players being spread out throughout all my lineups, and then I'm mixing in the other guys I talked about. I think Bam is a really solid play just in terms of how good the matchup is. I worry about that game. I really, really worry about that game staying close. And with Lowry potentially coming back too, which is kind of a weird day to come back, it's almost like they could rest somebody else. So just keep an eye out for that starting lineup. What's up, Dunbar? Keldon Johnson is fine. I think he's actually like probably a little bit underrated as a play, but it feels more chasey because of what's been happening lately. But on FanDuel at 5,600, it's really hard not to argue that he's plenty of good play, even if everybody was healthy and we're missing, Walker, Alexander and I'm losing all the names here. Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Vassell. So I do think that the Spurs have some other guys. The problem is they just tend to play a bunch of guys in these situations, but Keldon Johnson's got a role already. So I think he's definitely a good play. You like Fox and FanDuel? I think that's fine. It's fine for me. I don't love Fox. What's up, Sheets?
Hey, what's going on?
How's it going, man? Sorry, I just went through all my plays and I went through all the things we're waiting for, which let's see. Schroeder is out, which is interesting a little bit. Sorry, I didn't send you the thing that I'm sorry, I get bad when I'm on air sometimes, but obviously you realized you could log in anyway. Sheets, the thing that we're going through is which value, to prioritize, but it's really hard to answer any of it without the Minnesota news, in my opinion, and with Gobert being questionable. With
which Minnesota news?
Beverly, Prince, Russell, and Reed are all questionable. So basically, but with Russell, a ton of usage, and this would be the third and 4 nights for them too. But in Reed, Beverly, Prince's case, you're talking about a ton of minutes between all those guys combined. So that whole game might just become like the stack and you try to find other things to do a little bit elsewhere. But we can talk through anything you want to talk through because I've sort of gone through everybody I like and everything I do. To answer Mufasa's question real quick before I actually do that, because that was the one I didn't get to, was the Fournier. I do not like Fournier. My max Blazer on a Blazers guys, there's no such thing as a max for them because I can play 4 of them with 1 or 2 run backs. It really depends on who's starting for Minnesota. As of right now, I'm trying to play at least 2 or 3 in most of my lineups. Sheets, how about you with the Portland guys?
Well, aside from Portland for just a second, what did you discuss the San Antonio guys?
I discussed no, I didn't. I mean, yes, I did, but I don't think that it's nearly as good as the other value. I like Primo a little bit, and I already liked Keldon Johnson and Murray, and Podol. That's it.
Okay, you didn't. Okay, because I have Josh Richardson at a flat 3K showing up as a decent play. I have Doug McDermott at 3,600 showing up as a decent play as well. I don't have them. I don't have them as good as the others like you mentioned, but they're certainly competitive enough.
Yeah, I have no interest in Josh Richardson at all. McDermott, meh. You know what I mean? They're going to play basically the same number of guys. The rotation should stay fairly similar. You could argue for usage, but that's mostly going to go to Murray and Podol, in my opinion. And it's just about a guy getting hot, which can always happen with McDermott, but could be Trey Jones might play 28 minutes, might play 12. They're going to play Wisekamp. They're going to play Langford. They do this when these guys have been out. I don't find it very interesting to value except for Primo. I don't find it all interesting to value outside of Primo, and I like Murray and Podol a lot.
So did you rank? I mean, I now have the Golden State guys ranked right now. Lee first, and then Lee and Poole very similar, and then Moody popped up a little bit. But again, it's
You have those guys ahead of Portland guys?
I do for now.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a high variance situation with.
Well, except not Brandon Williams. Brandon Williams I have as the top.
Yeah.
But after that, I have Lee, Poole, Moody, Kuminga, Looney. I have them all ahead of all the Portlanders.
Yeah.
I don't know, but they're just value. You know what I mean? Like
so I talked through all these guys. I think that if you're going to try to find ways to split them up, you'd probably look for Moody and Lee to split up. Even though, again, they're fine together. It's just a matter of you can't play everybody. So I have Porter and Toscano Anderson are both questionable.
Okay.
And I actually think there's a reasonable chance that they both, well, could sit. They don't have that many other bodies. That's the weird thing. But I just think that the Spurs and Warriors and even Portland's minutes are somewhat in flux, but the Warriors, it really depends on Toscano Anderson and Porter, which just leads me to my overall point. Just don't play these first games.
Yeah.
Outside of maybe playing a little bit of Trey and Cade. And if we have a question to Q tag on Vucevic. If he's out, then Tristan Thompson's going to look like a great play. Anyway, so we're waiting on all this stuff. It's really, and then also with, the Golden State news, the Gobert, that means Whiteside's an awesome play. Like there's just a lot of stuff that we have to wait on, which I think just, speaking to overall strategy delay.
Well, let's follow the information cycle, right? So the first bit of news that's going to come out is going to be Vooch, right?
Yep.
There's nothing else that we know about that's coming out from these 7 o'clock games. So the first thing we have to think about in our heads is, if Vooch is in, or if Vooch is out, is there anything we really need to do in Chicago? And if Vooch is in, is there anything we need to do in any of the games? Did you talk about the spend ups, like with the Trey and Embiid and Harden, as opposed to like the Luka, and the later guys?
Yeah, I mean, Trey. My favorite spend ups are the Lakers. Okay. The Lakers on FanDuel more so even, but. They're going to be really chalky, but it's hard to ignore Murray and LeBron. I think Luka and Jokic, especially Jokic, is in a high variance situation, ish, because of the back-to-back, because of Denver potential blowout and all that stuff. But the fact that no one's going to play him on DraftKings means I'm forcing him in, because I still think he has the highest floor and ceiling of any player in basketball. And he just put up 95 yesterday, and if no one wants to play him because he put up 95, he can. I mean, it's not like he doesn't do these. Not 95, maybe, but I don't know. It's just I can't resist the temptation in a great matchup not to play him at no ownership. I guess on FanDuel people will play him, on DraftKings they won't. So I don't know, but I was stuck between Luka and Jokic, but I do think Murray and LeBron are the top two. I do have Cade and Trey line up together. But Cat is probably on his own a better one, but I have him under a question mark because he leaps to the front if Russell's out, but he's still right there. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones to spend up on, and I've sort of mixed and matching, and I'm playing more 30% of those guys because there's plenty of value, and I understand the case for like middle builds in general, but I don't think that's the right way to play today.
Yeah. Speaking of which. What do you think of the Miami guys, Butler and Bam?
I think it would be these plays. Bam is the play if you're going to play one, in my opinion. I don't see Jimmy Butler as being a good play tonight. Especially it's weird because we're talking about how Jimmy Butler never gets there. We're talking about how he's going to be owned.
Yeah.
And then all that happens is they announce that Oladipo and Kyle Lowry are now playing as well. Okay,
right.
And we're going to play you more. It doesn't really make sense. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. It feels fishy to me. Look, is it a great matchup it's a great matchup for every single one of these guys. Like a really great matchup for all of them. But I'm not doing it.
Right. So again, carrying on the news flow, right? So the next bit of big news that'll come out after Vooch is going to be Minnesota, right? With respect to whether Russell or all those guys, right? All those guys being questionable. Mm-hmm. I'd like to think that happens before 7:30. That would be nice. And so if Russell, for example, who are these, like legit questionables, or are people just speculating?
No, they're legit questionables.
Yeah. Russell is questionable. Russell is a late addition to the injury reports. That's not good.
Yeah, all of these guys.
So Russell's not going to play.
I don't know if that's right at all. Right, they're on a roll. They are winning game. They are at home. My guess is 2 of them play and 2 of the guys don't, or something like that. And now, yes, could they just beat them anyway? But they need to keep winning games. They're on a little bit of a run. And they're
Prince, Naz Reid. Cad is not questionable.
No, he's an awesome play anyway, but like he's gonna become really popular if these guys are out, especially if Russell's out. But he's been good anyway. I mean, his usage is way up with no Edwards. And
so you talked about the Portland guys. I presume that you like Brandon Williams and maybe Hart the best.
Yeah, I like Brandon Williams. I think the other ones are worth speculating on because I think that they're more in flux. I like Keon Johnson, Hart, Williams on DraftKings, and I'm definitely playing probably one of Eubanks or Watford on most of my FanDuel lineups. I think your long shot play would be Ben McLemore. You just hope he gets hot from the outside, like everything you were saying about who was the San Antonio? Richardson or McDermott. Yeah. Ben McLemore is like a much better version of that because he could break into playing a bunch more minutes, and it's probably, if he's doing so, it's because he has that weird I'm gonna make 6, 7 threes kind of a night because he can do that, and he'll have the opportunity to tonight. Like he played 30 in the last game against this team, and hadn't played more than 20 or whatever. Now he didn't have a great game the last time out, but I'll take Ben McLemore on the court for 30 minutes. You know, I don't know. I just think it's kind of interesting. So like, that's your long shot play. I think and because of the ownership, I think he's a better play than the Spurs guys, except for Primo. Go ahead, Chief.
I don't like that. That Gobert he's questionable because due to left calf soreness.
That's a real questionable.
Yeah,
and the spread is changing.
He missed 10 games with that.
Before. It was 1.5, and now it's 2. It's 2.5. Yeah. I'm leaning more towards that he's not going to play, which means even more so, just speaks even more to the procrastinating. The problem is you could get yourself screwed a little bit if you just commit to Whiteside early. Not only could he play Gobert or whatever, that would kill you. But what if they end up going small? I don't think they would do this. I'm just thinking out loud. I do think Whiteside would be a very hard guy to avoid if Gobert's out. Probably becomes the priority.
Well, and I'm just thinking about the timing. You know, it's possible that we have to make Minnesota decisions before we know about Utah.
Yeah.
Well, at least we'll have the Minnesota news. So I'm just trying to think about this. So if Russell is out, then we're going to want to play.
Well, we don't know. It depends on whether Beverly plays.
Oh, right.
And it depends on whether, even if Taurean Prince is out, those are minutes that could go to Beasley.
Look at these guards. I'm like looking at my screen here. These point guards from Portland. Oh my God, everybody's out. This is crazy. I even forgot that Damian Lillard was on the team.
That makes sense. I mean, he hasn't played in forever.
I mean,
he's taking a year off.
So Jalen Noel, is that what's going to be today? I mean,
it's impossible to say until we know who's playing, and also then we need a starting lineup because it could be McLaughlin, not Noel.
Right.
So it would become.
I think it's good to prepare though. So if there's, I'm just spitballing. So if there's no Russell and Beverly, then they're both probably in play, Noel and McLaughlin, but we probably want to err on the guy who's starting.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're gonna.
It still wouldn't necessarily.
Unless they're really hurt, I think they'll play one of these guys.
Well, you'd think so, but they've done it plenty of times where they haven't. And the only thing that's a little weird here is that that makes it a little bit. I don't know. It's the third and 4 nights. It seems like a time where you'd get somebody a rest,
right?
And it's the matchup you want to rest your guys against. Do I like Vooch on FanDuel? I don't know if Vooch is playing, Kevin Wise. I've got him in one of my initial builds, but I don't know if he's playing. FanDuel dude, David keeps asking for the FanDuel exposures. I can't give you any more exposures than what I gave you, buddy. I gave you everybody I'm playing, and then all I can do from then on is tell you what I'm doing, which is waiting. So I don't know what my exposures are going to end up being. The only guy who I'm getting onto more that I didn't talk about much on the shows, I think I'm going to play a little bit of Bogdanovich in the earlier game. I think Herter being out is enough for him to maybe take a shot on him. Now, I'll probably only do it if he's not starting because I think he'll actually get pretty decent ownership if he starts. If he doesn't start, I like the situation for him better. I think he's probably going to I guess I probably would start him in this. They don't have to. He gets projected to start all the time and doesn't end up starting, but Anyway, that's the only other guy I have. On FanDuel, it's the same. I'll just reemphasize. I like the Lakers Spurs things. I like getting some LeBron and Podol. I like LeBron and Murray. I like a little Westbrook and Murray, maybe even a Westbrook and Podol. Luka, Harden, Towns as other priority spends up other than those guys. I do have a Trey Cade lineup. I love Kuminga. I want at least one of Eubanks or Watford. And I'm open to Aaron Gordon because his price is so low.
Wow, that's someone you haven't played in a long time, huh?
Well, I mean, also Barton's questionable. It's the second of the back,
right.
and he put up 46 last night. Like people talk about it, but when you get down to a certain price and you're going 6x, 5 out of 6 games or so, 5 out of 7, not 5 out of 8 games. I should take it back. Why wouldn't I be playing that guy? Like, you know what I mean?
What do you think of these studs on Philly?
The studs on Philly, I think are not good on draft. I can't get to them on DraftKings. They're fine. I mean, I just think I like all the other guys better. On FanDuel, they're both more reasonable, but I still think I'd rather play Jokic than Embiid.
I just worry about the game environment, but obviously,
we see it though all the time with teams that tend to be competitive when they rest everybody. Even though the Warriors have really, really been struggling, they're like 14-14 their last 28. What else is there?
Do we want to make anything of Jalen Brunson being out? Nothing really shows up.
I think Dinwiddie's okay. It's a bump up for Luka. I think Dinwiddie's okay. I'm not playing him personally, but I have no problem if anybody wants to.
See who else is showing up here. I brought up Dante DiVincenzo earlier. Just kind of I would just call him a secondary value play. Is very gracious, but
no, I mean, and the fact that he's getting ownership is the big part of the reason why I have zero interest in him. There's no reason to play him.
I have him about 12%. I mean,
yeah, I don't. You mean that's his projected ownership?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too high for me. If we're gonna be comparing, like I don't think he's as good a play. I don't know which guards are gonna end up being the ones, but between Primo and some are a little higher, some are a little lower, but all the lower ones are better, have a better chance of outscoring it straight up. So, what am I doing? Devontae Cacok now available. Okay.
You think about that Sacramento Knicks game at all?
It's an interesting game to stack and then change your lineup as you go.
Yeah.
That's sort of my thoughts on it. I think that Randall's too cheap on DraftKings. I'm sorry, on FanDuel. I think that you could just make an argument for Fox every day because he seems to be incredibly high variance and puts up 50 every other day. So you could argue for him. I'm not getting to as much of him. But I also like Burks, but I'll save that play more for FanDuel. And I'm not getting to the RJ Barrett as much, even though it's a great spot for him. So maybe, that game is a little easy to overlook with some of these other situations. So I don't mind if you want to just filter in those guys. And I like the call you made earlier that we haven't really touched on again since is I think that just Mitchell Robinson, just game environment alone makes him a really strong play.
Okay.
I like Keldon Johnson, but in all that honesty, I'm not really playing him much. But again, it depends on who's playing for the other guys because I'm sort of counting on some information coming in that are going to force me into some other plays. But I do like Keldon Johnson as a tournament play. I think that he gets overlooked for the most part. He won't be overlooked on FanDuel at 5,600. But I think he's got an upside to back it up. I mean, 3 of his last 5 or over 36 fantasy points or 4. No, sorry. Yeah, it's 3 out of his last 5.
You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to play FanDuel. Oh wow, these tournaments are not filled yet. 620. Wow.
Yeah, they've been selling out kind of late lately.
Wow, that's interesting. The Slam is the closest one to being filled. That is interesting.
How about Vanderbilt, or do I like Gordon better on FanDuel? I think Vanderbilt's a good play. I think that he and McDaniels are both good plays. So Gordon, I think, will be a little bit lower owned, but it depends. Well, it depends. If those other guys are out for Minnesota, I can't answer the Minnesota question. I just can't do it. Um, I have Gordon in there, but that's because I can make my decisions on Minnesota after I hear who's playing. I really wish I could do something to be more help on these things, but it's hard because my strategy is to delay. And we talked about some potential plays in that game, but it really depends on how many are out. If all 4 of those guys are out, that game is what you're stacking, and then everybody else is sort of like that's like your cash game strategy should be stacking that game.
To which one?
Portland, Minnesota, if those guys are
Yeah,
out.
yeah, for sure.
So, but if just 2 of them are out, I mean, first of all, if Beverly plays, I think Beverly's a good play. If Russell plays, I think Russell's a good play.
Yeah, sure.
And Vanderbilt and McDaniels are fine no matter what. So I actually like the idea of playing them without knowing because you're still getting 2 good plays anyway, even if everybody plays. All right. With that said, though, I do need to actually build some of my lineups because some of them have players who aren't even in the lineups tonight, and some are questionable. So I'm going to probably shift that and make sure I don't have much from the early games outside of Bogdanovich, Trey, and a little bit of Cade. Sheets, good luck tonight. Good luck, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for the compliments on the site. We got a lot of people in here too, which was great. And I'm going to be in Discord to answer any questions as much as I can up to and after lock. So good luck, everybody.
Yeah, I guess I'll stick around if you have any, I guess, projection-oriented questions or what I'm doing. I'm just building some lineups right now. But again, as Bobby was saying, it's really a delay situation. So, I wonder if I can share my screen. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we could do a little NHL. Just give me a second. Just want to save my FanDuel lineups. Okay, as a matter of fact, it's a good idea because I do want to redo my NHL lineups. It was a really weird day today for those of you to follow the NHL. It's almost as if the entire DraftKings pricing model just broke. It was one of those slates where it's like they wanted to make it so that everybody could play. They made guys like really cheap, just kind of out of nowhere, which is and these are spots which are good spots too. It's not like just guys in bad spots that are going to project well. These are actually good spots. So it's an interesting slate because you really have to make those ownership decisions. I'll tell everybody where I am right now. I'm just redoing some builds here. I think with the NHL, it's just as important to get the construction right than the players. Like baseball, like you want to get the right stack. You don't want to play a bunch of one-offs. I mean, you want to make sure that you play. That you get the right stacks in, and I think that hockey, I play it a little bit more. I don't know whether this is aggressive or not, but I really like to jam it in there, like to play like 5-2s, 6-0s, 5 like onslaughts. I really like to do stuff like that. So like for example, like my first run here, like this is okay. You guys want to have something interesting? So in my first set of SaberSim hockey lineups, I get like a breakdown like this, and when I see that, I figure this is weird because it's very rare that your biggest exposure is to 3 2s. So I really have to go back and see what I want to do, if I want to force in the stacks or whether I want to, just live with those players. And I'm looking at it, it's looking though I'm getting like 60% Toronto and like 60% Calgary, 40% Calgary in that, and only very little Boston, which is very interesting because Boston is again one of those really affordable stack here. Russell is out. Okay, that's interesting. Thank you, Nicholas. And I'll try to get those projections updated. I mean, I'll get them. I'll certainly be before 8. But I don't know if I'll be able to get them done before 7, but we'll just see. So what I'll do with my hockey is then I'm not really getting the Columbus to answer your question. Not to say that's wrong, but I'm just not doing it. let me see what if I become a little more pure, like I just play like 4 3s, 5 O's, 6 O's, 5 2s, things like that. I want to see if that changes my exposure a little bit. I mean, I imagine it would. Yeah, so if I make it just kind of like the purest types of stacks, then I'm getting a little bit more spread out, but I'm not getting to the Columbus. I'm sorry about that. The other thing I have to look at is this Alex Tuck, because I have him as questionable. I wanna give him a kind of a look-see. Okay, let's see. See what's going on with Alex Tuck. Let's see what we have here. Alex Tuck, it says day to day, and he was deemed a game time decision. That was today. He did not return undisclosed. I'll probably just X him. I mean, it's not that big a deal. It's not really part of a stack or anything. It's just part of kind of a one-off. So I'll probably just X him, just make it easier on myself. So let's find Tuck. He's in 4 lineups. We'll get rid of him. And that doesn't really change all that much. Getting the decent amount is Jonathan Quick, which is going to be really interesting because Boston is going to be I presume they're going to be pretty chalky. And you get a goalie against the chalk build. That could be a little bit of definitely some leverage. So I'm playing a bunch of, I'll just tell you my hockey. So I'm playing Toronto, Calgary, Florida. Not as much Boston. Oh, you know what? I am getting to some Columbus, to answer your question. I'm getting like 13% Columbus, which is, something. So we're going to download these, and we're just going to play these as is. And change that. Edit entries. Then I'll go to work on these basketballs. So what I want to make sure I do is I want to make sure I really don't want to play these early games unless it really demands it. My only question is, am I going to be able to get the projections updated in time to make 7 o'clock decisions, right? Oh, yeah, but thanks everybody for the well wishes. It's obviously a good weekend for me. I don't know if anybody was sweating that, but that was definitely a lot of fun with the various other sports. I'd like to it'd be cool to pop another NBA one. That'd be nice. You don't like hockey? Edwards has always been out. Gary, man, I like all these other sports. I really do. Yeah, I think Edwards was always going to be out, but yeah, okay. So let me see if I can't get any updated. There's no way anything's going to be updated yet on Minnesota unless they announce who is starting. I guess between McLaughlin and Noel, right? I know that. Well, Beverly, that's the whole thing. So Beverly's going to be. You're going to want to play Beverly, right? That's the story. Hockey, LMAO. You should be here when we talk about League of Legends. Hockey's like a main sport compared to the crap I play. Okay? I'm just trying to survive until tennis comes back on Wednesday. Because if I won the same GPP 3 days in a row in tennis. Now again, it's not very big, but that's pretty cool. Those are long sweats. Those go on for all day, like 12 hours into the night sometimes. Very, very low ROI as far as your sweat equity. I'm literally just standing here waiting for projections to update. And if I don't get what I want, then I think I might just backload all of these games. You know, so this is what I can do. I mean, this could be a fun exercise. All right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do some SaberSim builds with the but I'm gonna manually deal with the Minnesota. Okay. So what we'll do is but it's ridiculous. I mean, like these other games have a lot of news. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna upload. First, we're gonna set the players. Then we're gonna update my most recent projections, which do not have the Minnesota. Then maybe what I'll do is I'll make some manual adjustments. Okay, so let's pull up the Minnesotas. And of course, my browser is all screwed up. Okay. Okay. So let's go to Minnesota's, and what we'll do is we'll X out. We'll do some manual adjustments, then we'll build. So we'll X out. Oh, Russell is out. Oh, okay. So what we'll do is we'll just use the good job, freaking SaberSim updating these projections. Excellent job. Malik Beasley, yeah, up to 31. Taurean Prince, McLaughlin. We're gonna update that one. And then I'm going to run one with all these guys, Naz Reid. So we're going to basically use SaberSims until we can get our full model rolling. That makes sense. And now what we'll do is I'll make a build. And then what I really think I want to do is I want to gauge how much I'd be getting from the early games, and then make kind of a decision as whether I want to just push everything back. So like I'm getting, oh my God, all the Beasley and Brandon Williams, whatever. So all these guys, I mean, not much from the early games, if at all. You know, I mean, I'm getting like 10% Trae Young, but that's not a big deal, right? So maybe I'll just keep. I'm getting like 10% Embiid, not a big deal. So this is actually not bad. Why am I getting Naz Reid though? Well, I mean, I guess you gotta play somebody. Vooch is out. All right, here we go. So as I was saying, let's go back. And so Tristan Thompson is going to show up. So now do we have to play all this? Herein lies the question, right? I'm going to do it on the other page here. So let's go. Vooch is out, which means, oh, there's Tristan Thompson. Tristan Thompson starting. Wow, there it is. You are correct. Somnu, Kobe White, Levine, DeRozan. Okay. So it's not getting to too much from that Chicago then for some reason. So I want to put off until I see who's starting in this Minnesota game. But the good thing is most of my builds are not really getting me much in this early game anyway. So I could probably just keep it as is. Yeah, all this stuff is just getting totally backloaded, which is, you know what? It is fine by me. I am getting to this Bam thing though. Boy, there's a little Cade. A little K never hurt anybody. But this Nas Reed business, why do I need to play him? It's only a couple lineups, not a big deal. Scott Anderson I could change. Okay, so let's do that. Let's change this to these lineups, but I want to change my big one because I don't know if I want to deal with this Nas Reed business. I don't know if I want Nas Reed as my big lineup. Okay, so we're going to change these lineups. So what I'm really doing, I'm backloading as much as humanly possible these lineups here. But the good thing is I'm not forcing them. You know, kind of happening organically, which is nice. Now I have to do the same thing with FanDuel. And then I am going to have to see if I can't. I want to give it another 10 minutes before I do the projections. There's the box out, the fadeaway. Keep getting this Nas Reed. I don't know why. I mean, why is Nas Reed a good play? I don't think I'm going to do that. Yeah, I don't know about this Nas Reed business. So I'll probably just X the Nas Reed. It just doesn't make any sense. That's not true. I mean, if he gets blowout run, I'm not even sure if he's playing. Actually, this is a little bit better. Let's put this one. I think this is actually a much better idea. This might be a little chalky, but I don't think I want to play Nas Reed. Now, then I'll go to work on the projections. I want to make sure I don't have the Nas Reed. So I do get a little bit of the Dinwiddie. Sabonis Barrow. That's a good lineup. That one I like. Sabonis. Jared Vanderbilt. Box out. This one. Juan Toscano Anderson. Yeah, this one's a good lineup. All right. This one's so good. All right, so let me see if you have any questions. If Whiteside plays, yeah, Timothy. I don't know. I don't have access to the Yahoo hockey. Sorry, so I don't know the answer. If Whiteside plays, he's a must play. You mean if Gobert is out? I mean, sure. I mean, he's a good play. It's a good play at that position, that's for sure. All right, let me go through. It's 6:39. All right, let me try one more time. Well, let's see if I can't even get the information I need. Let me see. Do I even have the Chicago stuff yet? No. I mean, I don't even. I'm sorry, guys. I just, all I can do with the projections is update when the industry updates. These are not my own. You know what I mean? Like I don't do it in this drill down work. So if they're slow, then I'm just going to be slow. That's the best I can do. Let me see what my FanDuel builds look like. How about that? That's something I can do. Let's we're still going to play the 100 lineups on FanDuel. I've been doing a really good job with the MMEing on FanDuel, actually. Let me see what my exposure looks like over there. DeJounte Murray, Brandon Williams, LeBron, Beverly, Butler. Yeah, same stuff. Okay. So we're going to change this. And I'll come back. I mean, I got to eat, but then I'm going to come back and you know, I'll try to update everything before 8 at least. Hopefully we'll have maybe something coming out of the Utah news. So let me see, any news on Utah? So do I play soccer? Sure, play everything. We use I use projections for it, but also DFS Chan is a really, really good soccer analyst, and he comes into our Discord and makes videos and does soccer content. You know what I like about soccer? Like all the games are at the same time. They start on time, they end up mostly on time, and they're all multiple sweat at the same time. You don't have to wait like hours between games sometimes. You hate the getting the Murray and LeBron, JJ? I don't know. I don't mind that. I mean, these guys are you know, it's gonna be a fast-paced game. And I think LeBron is kind of in carry the team on his back mode right now if he can get away with it, right? So quickly, okay. Check. Okay, let me see what I can do about updating this stuff now before we go. Let me see. Nah, no real help. Yeah, no real help. I'm just worried about this, about missing. Should I be too worried about the Chicago business? Let me just see something. Let's see what the Chicago situation looks like here. Really not getting to. It's weird, right? Shouldn't I be getting to more Chicago with Vooch being out? I mean, Tristan Thompson. I mean, not really. I mean, I guess that's a pretty decent projection. Let's see something. See what happens if I do one more build and I use these Chicago guys a little bit more. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. You know, I have no problem pushing this stuff back, but if I'm missing like a smash play from Chicago, I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. Let's see. I'm just running something in the background there. No, not really. I should probably have more of the Patrick Beverly, though, right? Poole, LeBron, Butler. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I got this right. And I can always change this a little bit later. I think this is going to be the key, is to really do some good rate swapping. But right now I'm pretty chalky with all these Warriors and all this stuff. But depending on how I do in these earlier games, I might decide where else I go with it. So this Brandon Williams, I'm having a tough time fading. I am getting some Tristan Thompson. What do you think about that? It's not bad, right? Yeah, that makes sense. Eubanks, Kuminga, Brandon Williams, Lee, Murray. What is this? Why do I have this? I don't want that. I don't want to play John Collins. Let's get rid of that. It's crazy. Get rid of John Collins. This looks a little better. Okay. This will be the last change. Then I'm going to probably skedaddle for a little while. Just take a break. Come back after these first games kind of get rolling. I'll try my best to update everybody. And yeah, so I guess good luck. Let me just check one last thing. Any more questions are worth mentioning here? Levine seems too good, but just too early. Yeah, I think I agree completely with that sentiment, actually. You know, Porter, we're going to have to deal with a little bit later if he's out. Beverly's a tough fade, I think. The only thing is, Beverly, you know, that game gets out of hand. That's going to be interesting. All right, that's good enough for now. Good luck, everybody.